The Golden Globes, they really outdid themselves this year. When we post this segment, we're going to title it, The 2023 Golden Globes Were a Woke a Clown Show.
Yes.
Because I have this feeling that...
There were drag queens there?
No, not that I'm aware of, but I wouldn't put it past them.
It wasn't an elementary school, so what would be the point?
There were no children there, what would be the point? Yeah, I have this theory that although celebrities are raving lunatics all the time, award shows are like a full moon for them, where they really reach a new peak of insanity every
Goes
time.
up to 11.
Yeah. And less people are watching.
Yes.
Everyone knows award shows are losing relevance and viewership at historic rates every year, and I don't know where this goes aside from just like 0 people watching anymore.
Do you think
if you're interested, you watch it getting live tweeted and roasted?
Do you think if they tried to do like We Are the World in 2023, everyone would be like, this is woke garbage, like nobody wants
They already did Imagine.
Nobody wants celebrities to tell them to do like the weird musical fundraiser for Haiti anymore. It was Africa in the 90s.
Look, Gal Gadot should have gotten more hate for that video.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
that was a crime against humanity.
The mythical idea of the celebrity being a force for good has kind of been broken. So I love We Are the World. My parents loved We Are the World. My family actually reenacted We Are the World, like lip syncing, and did the whole video like before I was born.
You might be right that it is a little on the nose for how cynical society
has
today.
Become.
It might be something that doesn't fly because everyone is very quick to be like,
they brought it
very
back
cynical,
in 2010 for the earthquake in Haiti, and that might have been the last time they would be able to get away with
I
that.
remember they had all the Disney Channel stars singing together, and they also did like the Earth Day stuff. That was a thing too.
Canada,
but it's not even that people had this perception of celebrities as a force for good. It's just that they were aspirational, whether it's just because of their looks or their wealth or their success. But I think all of that pomp and circumstance about their formal events, like all of these award shows, has kind of faded away, and we're seeing what embarrassing, deranged narcissists they really are.
Tom Cruise sent his awards back because of the diversity scandal.
Yeah, and Brendan Fraser also has boycotted the Golden Globes this year.
Did he really?
Yes,
because he would have got awards because of The Whale, right? He did like that was such an I didn't see it, but I want to see it because I saw the clips and the performance does look really, really impressive. So I want to see the movie.
He boycotted because the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association
allegedly
groped him in 2003 at some luncheon. And then when he came out about it, they didn't discipline the guy at all. And he was like, oops, sorry you feel that way.
That guy did get in trouble, however, for writing an article about how BLM was a bad organization. So he didn't get in trouble for sexual assault. He got in trouble for writing a negative
The Hollywood
article
Foreign Press is big.
Yeah.
Anyway, they did not air the Golden Globes last year because they got into this whole scandal about not having any black members on their voting committee. And then they also blamed it on COVID restrictions, which was obviously a sorry excuse.
Well, they had the other one, right?
Here's the worst part. So the show is hosted by a comedian named Gerard Carmichael.
Yeah.
And he actually makes a joke in here because in light of the scandal from the previous years, he mentions that there was no African Americans on their panel, on the Hollywood Foreign Press panel before the death of George Floyd. He also says, he legitimately says, I'm only up here because I'm black. And everyone laughs. The problem is, if this was done in the 90s and Chris Rock did it, everyone could have laughed because everyone understands that Chris Rock is a legitimate big name celebrity. If Will Smith said it, legitimate big, even Kevin Hart.
Have either of you heard of Gerard Carmichael?
Will Smith would have said, "It's good I'm up here," or else I would have slapped someone.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that.
Well, have either of you heard about Gerard
I have no idea
Carmichael before this? Because this is the first I've heard of this person before.
It's like he doesn't understand.
He's a comedian, but nothing he said is recognizable as comedy because he's just complaining about racial grievances.
And what he doesn't understand that joke only works if you are a household name who's actually built up a huge following. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just weirdly telling of their industry.
Yeah, we
you're only
noticed.
here because you're black,
Like
and they're trying to save face by inviting you. And
It's like after all
obviously,
the stuff
a Ricky
in previous
Gervais
years.
would never happen again,
Well,
and
remember,
he himself knows that.
They also got rid of Kevin Hart that one year when they were going to have Kevin Hart because
Yeah.
he made jokes 10 years
something
prior.
and something that he had already apologized for
Walk
too, which
back,
is why
yeah.
you never ever apologize, because even if you apologize, no one is going to forgive you.
Yeah.
And second of all, they will still bring it up 5, 10, 15 years down the road. It doesn't matter. Never say you're sorry, because it doesn't absolve you of anything. The only thing you do is say, you're right, I did something bad. When someone tries to get on you and tries to cancel you, flip them off.
They'll just call the apology insincere anyways.
Yeah, they just say no. Even if they accept it and it's like, okay, it calms down.
Yeah.
2 years later, 3
Yeah,
years
'cause then
later,
you
someone
admitted
gets
guilt.
mad at you and they're like, oh, remember when they said blah, blah, blah.
Makes
They-
you into a target for next time.
Exactly. So just tell them to F off, and you don't care what they think. And then they'll be like, well, you did this. And I'm like, and I told you to go F yourself back then too.
He essentially said that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is racist.
Yeah.
He was like, I won't say they were a racist organization, but they didn't have a single black member until George Floyd died.
Who
and then
watches this
then
stuff?
he said, I was invited to be the black face of an embattled white organization.
Who like imagine you're getting
And
dressed.
people laughed.
You're getting dressed for the show. You're putting on your fancy gown. The guy's putting on his 3-piece suit, and they're like, "Let's go and talk about this." Who's doing this?
I think all they knew is like, we can't let a Ricky Gervais happen ever again.
Yeah.
Because I just still savor that video of that monologue where they're all so
Yeah. It was
uncomfortable and
wonderful.
acting
He was
like
your friend.
he's not talking about me, it's everybody else is the problem, and they're like squirming in their seats. It's just so delicious
Tom
to
Hanks'
watch that,
face.
and they will never let that happen again.
No,
they
they
only
can't.
want to self-flagellate for astroturfed reasons.
No, and that's the big thing. Was I think a big part of this is it's the white male actors and the white studio execs that love to go there and get flogged because they feel guilty for everything they have.
Yeah.
They feel legitimate guilt and superiority. It is guilt, white supremacy on their part. They actually feel
Well,
guilty
that's
and
the-
feel that they're better than them.
You know, Tim said this, or I've heard Tim Pool saying it, like, the woke are just white supremacists that feel bad for you.
Yep.
And if the point of like the whole like critical consciousness is to make everybody woke, there's going to be some portion that are going to say, okay, I hear all the things that you're saying, I don't feel bad for it though.
Yeah.
Like what? And that, so you just
you
made
can't
a
argue
real.
with that.
You
Like,
just
this
made
is
a
my
racist.
feeling.
And
That you
Yeah.
literally produced a racist.
Right.
You made them think racist things, and then they said, "Yeah, okay, these are all these things that you're telling me.
Yeah.
I understand. I don't feel bad for it. So
Right.
now what?
They actually feel better because you told them that they're better.
Yeah, yeah.
And-
good job. Way to
Right.
go.
And these aren't the people that you want promoting your message anyways, because there's already a class divide which divides you from listening to these people, right? Like, how am I supposed to take your word for it? You don't live in the same world that I live in. Like, why would I listen to Gerard Carmichael, who's got millions of dollars and is hosting the Golden Globes, talk to me about what's good or bad? He doesn't live in my world. I don't live in his world. I don't tell him how to live his life. He shouldn't be telling me how I should be living mine or what society should look like.
Yeah.
Hollywood doesn't export American values to the rest of the world. Hollywood exports Hollywood values. Hollywood is a weird failed state in the middle of another failed state in California. And it
We're just
doesn't...
waiting on the tectonic plates to do their job. Do your thing, sweetie.
That's and then
Or global warming.
it could be global
I mean,
warming.
climate
They could-
change.
when did that officially switch over? That's not really related to this, but
Definitely like mid
know.
2010s.
is that when that was?
when
Was that-
current year began?
I don't know when they switched over to climate change.
Another highlight of the night was Michelle Yeoh's acceptance speech. This is the first Golden Globe she has ever won. And instead of saying thank you, you know she's going to be complaining about that fact.
Which is a bummer
So-
because she was fantastic.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Yeah. She took 4 whole, dreadfully boring minutes to first complain that she has been the victim of like microaggressions over her race. She's Malaysian. And she was like, oh, people ask me if I spoke English and they don't know about all the different countries that are in Asia. They're so ignorant. And then she complained that she's been typecasted and that she's also been shut out of a lot of opportunities for roles due to ageism. She's 60 years old and she actually looks very good, by
for
the way.
60, yeah.
But it's just like, you're not helping yourself by being such an insufferable person.
Remember when you focused on
an
what
ingrate? You're a Hollywood ingrate.
Remember when you focused on what you accomplished in spite of what you overcame rather than focusing on what you overcame in spite of the accomplishment? Like, in this case, they're not focusing on what they achieved. They're focusing on what they had to overcome to achieve it.
Yeah.
It should be about what you achieved.
Right.
And then what you overcame should be secondary. They go the other way. It's like, oh, thank God I achieved it so that I can now complain about what I had to do to achieve it. Also, by the way, that trophy just looks like a dildo.
I was going
It
to
does.
say that.
It looks like a dildo. I don't care what
Carter
you
was
say.
wondering like who's gonna say it.
The whole
It's-
time,
I will
like-
say it. It's a dildo trophy.
Is
That's
it really?
It, as far as I'm concerned, they did it like just to laugh at the actors. Like whoever designed it did it for these pictures, so that these people would have to hold these pictures
So
and do this.
the craziest part of her speech was when the producers wanted to like gently close out her speech. They started doing this quiet piano interlude, and then she just snaps back at them and she's like, "Shut up, please."
Yeah.
I can. And then she said, "I can beat you up, okay?" And that's serious. Like, imagine being
But
the
she
guy
can't.
who is playing the piano, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
She's a legit martial
I would just
artist.
press the sustain pedal down and play faster.
the narcissism it takes to like violently threaten people on live TV. And then
Right.
when you think about the fact that like all the lowly peasants at these award shows who serve them have to wear masks.
Wearing masks still. Yep.
They're just like dehumanizing anyone who doesn't have the microphone.
Let's be fair though. The people do it. This is like I follow a lot of accounts from people who work in the industry. Right? They don't care that they have to. I don't know if it rings true to them or they understand that it's insulting that they have to wear a mask and the other person doesn't. They just see it as like part of their everyday life. Like it doesn't even register to them that it's infuriating. That it should
Yeah,
be
they
Well,
infuriating.
then
add
it's
that.
and then
because
it's dehumanizing.
it doesn't register because like they have this whole audience of celebrities that are like clapping like seals
arf,
or
Yep.
because they don't understand what is normal behavior socially. They've been locked away in their homes for 2 years straight. And they don't interact with anyone outside of their echelon.
Yeah.
They're socially maladjusted freaks.
Yep. But that's the problem with like that's one thing to be a socially maladjusted freak if you're just off doing that. But this is what we export.
But why
to
do you
the
have
youth.
to like project it to everybody else
Yes,
and
we-
force us to celebrate you?
So if you're locked in a room, what's being locked in a room with like a socially maladjusted celebrity or an influencer?
Oh gosh. I think there may be a rehabilitation program in need for influencers.
Like I don't know which one is actually worse. Whether I would want to be stuck on if you're on a deserted island, do you want to be surrounded by celebrities or influencers?
I don't know. I don't think I've been around influencers.
It's like I would rather be around the celebrities because they'll just leave me alone because they won't want to interact with me. The influencers will bother you and put the phone in your face and ask you questions. Like,
that's a good
How
point,
much is
though.
your apartment cost in New York City? Like I don't want.
can
them
I
doing that.
see it?
Can I see it?
They're like talking like a cosplayer. They're like, can I see it?
It's like, so it's the problem is that these people, whether it's because of Twitter, social media in general, people aspire to be them, and very few people make it to that class. We don't want to aspire to be celebrities.
But I think less and less people are thinking that. Like,
I
no
don't
one
think
watches
Hollywood
these-
maybe, but they want to be celebrities. They want to be internet celebrities. They want to be
Sure.
influencers. Like the number one career choice for Gen Z is they want to be YouTubers or influencers.
Yeah,
they
I
don't
like-
want to work in astrophysics. They don't want to be an
oversaw-
astronaut. They want to work in. They either want to be an actor or they want to be an influencer.
Yeah, like I oversaw children's programs, like after school programs, and I babysat. And like whenever I ask them, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? It's always like, I want to be like blank YouTuber.
Yeah.
I want to be a YouTuber or a streamer or whatever. Like, I want to play video games for a living.
It's also funny because they don't realize how much work goes into those jobs.
Yeah.
Like they think it's really easy because like, and I think this goes back to what I was saying yesterday about the boomer take that like any job you enjoy, boomers hate. Boomers don't want you to like your work. Like any job you have that doesn't involve being yelled at by a boss, they say get a real job.
Oh, yeah,
so it's like they don't realize that there's actually like jobs that you can enjoy doing, but there's still a lot of work to do. Like,
Arguably, you work more doing
Yeah.
a job you love to do because you never stop working.
and more risk because
Oh, yeah.
like if you're like if there's one thing that's kind of good for kids to realize is like maybe it's they're developing the skill to want to be like a freelancer or an entrepreneur because it's a lot harder. A lot of people can't get out of that cycle of needing the weekly paycheck.
There's a lot of people that are raised to only envision to envision the only way that they can sustain themselves is if someone else gives them a job.
Yeah.
I haven't been employed since, in 20 years or something like that.
And that's
there's absolutely plenty of ways for people to go out and produce a living of the, on their own without having to go to a job and have someone else. But the problem is that is the safety thing. That's what people people want. People want to be able to go and make sure that they know next week they've got a paycheck, and the week after they've got a paycheck, and the week after that they've got a paycheck, because then they can say, okay, I can plan my life. I can look into the future and expect certain things, and I can plan for those certain things. It is scary to be like, hey, for me, it's like, okay, if this record doesn't do well enough, or if this tour doesn't do well enough, especially when you're starting out nowadays. It's not like that. We've got a career, but starting out, and that's the same thing for people that are starting businesses. So having the mindset to not think like an employee is actually a big deal, and it's not something that just comes automatically.
And they don't teach you that in school.
Exactly.
Oh no.
And it does revolve.
They teach you the opposite.
Yes,
Right. They teach you
you're
to follow this path, and then you'll be here eventually. But
Yeah.
I mean.
Let's just say, like, all the people with MBAs work for people that dropped out of college. Like, but it's one of those things where for this, it's like it requires you to have a lot of self-confidence. Like, you kind of have to be willing to take that bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the celebrities don't really do this. We talk about this a lot, Mary, about the difference between what would have been 20 years ago considered a mainstream celebrity and someone like an influencer. Obviously, now they're using the influencers to try to get people to go to the Golden Globes.
Or the Met Gala. Like, they
Yeah.
have Emma Chamberlain, this, like, teenage YouTuber, interviewing actual celebrities at the Met Gala, and it just doesn't feel like two worlds that should blend together. Feels weird to me.
So, but it's like the easy thing to dunk on here is like, look, who would want to watch a weird show where a bunch of rich people tell each other why they're awful? Like, hi, I'm awful and you should not like me. Or I'm awful, so like me because I'm willing to admit that I'm awful, or that I was born privileged. Oddly enough, they don't believe in that when it comes to nepotism. They only believe in that when it comes to racial stuff. They don't believe nepotism is a thing in Hollywood, but
Suspiciously, because they happen to be the recipients of it.
Yes.
So that's the only privilege and power narrative that they won't participate in.
I did get a message here that's I would like to remind everyone, if you could go ahead and hit the like button, please. That would help us out greatly. We have
Smash that like button.
See, here we say gently tap the like button. I don't want it to be violent.
Gently.
I don't want it to
Calm.
be sexual.
Don't
caress it.
Well,
I didn't say
finger the
caress
like button,
it.
but I'm not gonna say.
I didn't say fondle the like button. I didn't say caress the like button. I said gently.
I didn't say grope it.
Tap the like. Yeah, do not grope the like button. That's bad. You end up catching a case if you do that.
No.
Just
Engage
tap
the
it.
like button.
Calmly.
Engage the like
whatever
button.
appendage you want.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.